Hello from Bali. This is the podcast Pigeon of Peace, where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about numerology and let's start with the definition.
Numerology is a discipline, this is not a science. When people think that something in their life or other people's life depend from numbers. And there are a lot of different formulas. For example, you could convert all letters of your name, M, A, K, S, I, M to numbers in alphabet and then make some formulas like multiplying, maybe subtraction, something else. And for example, if we will play with your letters, we could create like digit like number like 666 or 999 or something like this. Or maybe we will create another formula, and if we will calculate your letters, we will create another word like love or happiness or something else. This is the first way how we could create our numerology. Second, for example, you want to meet a girl and maybe you hesitate between two. One is name like Allah, another name is like Bala, and you don't want to lose them both. And you will go to special man, special woman, and they will make calculation, and he will ask, or she will ask, when you was born, when this first girl was born and another, and they will make calculation how many sons or daughters you will have, how many business and how many money you will earn, and things like this. And then you will have like two comparison spreadsheet. In one, your life in scenario one, in another hand scenario two, and now you will choose not a girl, you will choose a way how you will spend the rest of your life.
It's actually reminds me a joke when the man was given the opportunity to, like a pick a girl. So he gave her money, and one of the girl like turned it into the beautiful garden. Another one turned it into the business, and apparently he chose the one with the bigger breast. So the logic was like completely off. And when we speak about the numerology, it seems that I do believe people actually want to learn something special about them because they do want to feel special. So maybe it has this scent of, like someone is just like trying to flatter other people in order to make sure that they will say, oh yeah, this is actually what I was thinking about myself, this is what I'm aspiring. But again, like when it comes to the practical usage of it, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but again, like it's all feels, it's a bit of like a marketing, if I can put it this way. So whether there is like a credibility to this thing when it comes to identifying the person and their potential.
Let me give you an example. It was like 40 years ago. I was in a first class of primary school, and then I found a book about square of Pythagore, and I put my digits of my fortune in this calculation, and suddenly I found several things. For example, I would end up my career in age of 42. It was so long way and something like this. I do not know all other digits, but sometime I was thinking, okay, it's quite close to 42, but I am happy to work in, I have a good salary, I have a good bonuses. And suddenly, like 3 months before I was turned to 42, I apparently want to quit my job. And when I make it and announce, I don't want to work in this new culture of transformation, I do not want to think how to do something. I will just do this, and doesn't matter how I will do. And then I was thinking, going from the office to my apartment in the Moscow, and suddenly realized I was almost at 42. And then I had a call from my shareholder, and he asked me, do you go into our huge competitor? It was Sberbank. And I told, no, I have nothing like a spare airfield. So I just go into deep blue. And he asked me, maybe you will rethink. And I told, no, too many strangers, too strange culture. I don't want to live in this new world. Better I will do something by myself. And then he asked me, okay, could you please hold with us like for 90 days, and can you transfer all your knowledge and all your clients? And for sure, I will tell him yes, because I was working for him for 20 years. But then I realized So I would be free, Dobby would be free exactly in 42 years.
Well, I do believe each Dobby deserved his socks. Basically, it was a story that, like the elf got the socks that actually let him out of the whatever he was there. And when we speak about the numerology, let's actually try to look back into the history, because obviously, like there might be certain people suddenly discovering something, or maybe trying to connect the dots. So how exactly, when was its first appearance, and how people actually came up to the idea that, names, dates, or maybe position of the stars, and then all of this together could mean something that could actually will be really well analyzed, interpreted, and then put into use.
Maxim, now maybe you will laugh, and our watchers and listeners would laugh, but I just came back from the South Russian territory, and they have very strange habits. For example, they have almost the same name. For example, grandpa and grandson would have the same name, Oleg, and sometimes they would be all Oleg Olegovich. And when I see it for the very first time, I was thinking, how strange. But then I meet one, second, third, first family, and they have the same name. And I ask them, why do you do this? And they say, several guys in our region, sometimes like several decades ago, they started not to bother themselves by choosing name for the new person. So all girls in our hierarchy, they would be called like Vika or Allah, and all boys would be like Sergey and Sergey Sergeyevich. What's the problem? And I ask, okay, but how do you know? How do you distinguish them? And it was really a great answer. We never use those names. We use nicknames.
Well, I believe this is actually quite smart. When we speak about numerology, it might be also probably have a scale, whether it's, like related to the person, maybe it could relate it to the, like person areas of life, or maybe it also could have some sort of like a dimensions in terms of the lifetime, in terms of the part of the life. So how the numerology, or maybe different techniques in numerology, approach to this and try to interpret different variables.
When I was working in China, I found it was an announcement. One guy, maybe rich one, he was writing like announcement in the newspaper. I would like to buy a number with all 8 digits. And I asked why he offering so much money. And it was answer from my Chinese colleague, something like this. If you have a lot of 8 in your number, it would mean that you will live forever. It's like endless life. I was saying, okay, come on. Then I was in another country. I do not want to mention it, but in this country, there were no floor by number 2. And I asked, why you have just first and third floor? And everyone was saying, it's not good to live on the second floor. And I asked why? And they say, usually if we live on separate houses, we should pay special taxes. And if you have just 2 stores in your house, you would be considered to be poor. So everyone wants to have 3-store building. So a lot of people who wants to live on the 3rd floor, no one wants to live on the 2nd floor because it means that you are a cheap person. And everyone's agreed to live on the 1st floor because 1st floor could be also in the 3rd floor building.
And actually, this is quite interesting twist, because sometimes I do believe numerology might not only be telling like who you are, or maybe like what your kind of future or past is, but maybe like how you are linked to the numbers. So it could lead to avoidance of the numbers, or vice versa. It could be leading like to seeing unseen signs when like you deal with something, whether it's number of something, whether it's like something that sounds like a number, etc., etc. So whether numerology actually covers this part of like a science, and how your reaction to them.
As a scientist, I sometimes do experiments with numbers, and I never could confirm this numbers influence to our life. And I'll give you one example. I was working in Alpha Capital investment company in the Ukraine on the Shatarustaveli Street, number 29. It was huge building, small skyscraper by Ukrprovzdravnitsa, like trade union. And I was working on the 13th floor. And sometimes investors, when they came up on our floor, they ask, Why you make meetings on the 13th floor? It would be unlucky business. And I always asking, okay, we have also negotiations room. Is it okay? Conference room or negotiations room? Переговорная.
Or even meeting room.
Meeting room, thank you. Meeting room on 15th floor and also on 12th floor. And at this point, these guys will ask, but why you do this? Because it is very cheap to have an office on the 13th floor, but we also renting a space on others. At this point, they were laughing and say, oh, come on, you are smart guys. Let's make a business on your floor.
Well, I do believe this is actually when the numerology was quite well leveraged. Then my last question will be how knowing about this skill could help to make this world a better place.
You know, sometimes I meet a very strange people, and maybe someday you will confirm. If you work with rich people, they often rely on luck. So they are deeply sure that they are not достойны, not devoted.
Yes, probably it could be
They do
deserved.
not deserve success they have, and they think that it was like a probability. And they, for example, would not hire bookkeeper by name Tatiana, or would not hire IT guy with twins. I don't know how to say horoscope. Is okay? Знак по зодиаку,
Horoscope
sign
is right.
horoscope, да? Twin horoscope. And sometimes they also would say, come on, I do not want to work with people who were born, I don't know, at 5th of August. And if you will ask them why, they will remember something which was happening like 20 or 30 years ago. It was a roommate, it was a classmate, it was a colleague, he was maybe betrayed and something like this. And people decide for all their life do not work with person who has the same for example, birthday.
Well, and we review the skill of numerology and how it could be helpful for you to stay in peace.